There's nothing quite like a game that pulls you into its world, grips you with its story, and makes you feel every moment. From emotional journeys to action-packed narratives, these 20 games are absolute must-plays for anyone who loves a good story. So, let's get started then.
Holy shit! Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima isn't just a game, it's an experience. From the moment I stepped into its breathtaking open world, I felt like I was living out my own samurai epic. You play as Jin Sakai, a warrior forced to abandon the strict code of honor he was raised with in order to save his homeland from the Mongol invasion. And that internal struggle, it hits hard. The story doesn't just tell you what Jin is going through, it makes you feel it. Every decision, every battle, every moment of loss weighs on him, and I found myself questioning what I would do in his place. On top of that, the game is just stunning. Whether it's riding through golden forests, dueling on a windy mountain peak, or watching cherry blossoms fall in a quiet village, Ghost of Tsushima makes you appreciate every second. If you love stories that blend personal stakes with historical drama, this is a must-play. Uncharted 4 is the kind of game that reminds me why I fell in love with gaming in the first place. It's like playing through the best action-adventure movie you've ever seen, but with more heart. Nathan Drake is older now, trying to leave his treasure-hunting days behind, but when his long-lost brother reappears, he's pulled back in for one final adventure. The dynamic between Nate and his brother, Sam, adds so much depth to the story. It's not just about finding lost treasure, it's about regret, legacy, and what we're willing to sacrifice for the people we care about. The set pieces are mind-blowing, the car chase sequence is legendary, but what really stuck with me was the quieter moments. The conversations between Nate and Elena, the way their relationship feels real and lived in, made me care about them beyond just the action. It's easily one of the best narrative-driven games I've ever played.
God damn it! We gotta shake that truck!
Working on it!
Longer. Watch it again!
I went into Detroit Become Human expecting a cool sci-fi story about androids, but what I got was so much more. This game doesn't just tell a story, it puts you in control of it. You follow 3 different androids, Kara, Marcus, and Connor, each with their own struggles, and every choice you make shapes their journey. It felt like I was directing my own interactive movie, and the weight of those decisions was intense. Do I fight for android rights peacefully, or do I start a revolution? Do I put my trust in a partner who might betray me? Every playthrough can be completely different, and the way the game reacts to my choices made me feel like I was crafting my own version of the story. It's a game that makes you think about humanity, free will, and morality in ways that stay with you long after you stop playing.
Don't touch him! Touch him and I'd kill you! Okay? They were going to replace you, and you became upset.
I don't think I've ever played a game that hit me as hard as The Last of Us. It's raw, emotional, and unflinchingly brutal. At its core, this is a story about survival, but more importantly, it's about the bond between Joel and Ellie. In this post-apocalyptic world overrun by infected, it's not just the monsters that are dangerous, it's people. And yet, in all that darkness, there are moments of light. The way Joel and Ellie's relationship grows, from reluctant allies to something much deeper, is some of the best storytelling I've ever seen in a game. The moment when Ellie starts telling jokes just to make Joel smile, or when they share quiet conversations in the middle of chaos, made me care about them in a way few games ever have. And that ending? It still messes with my head. If you haven't played it yet, you need to experience it for yourself. Cyberpunk 2077 had a rocky launch, but once it finally got the updates it needed, I was completely hooked. This isn't just a game, it's a world you can lose yourself in. Night City is alive in a way I've never seen in another RPG. Every street, every neon-lit alley, every towering skyscraper feels like it has a story to tell. And speaking of stories, the journey of V and Johnny Silverhand is one hell of a ride. V's struggle to survive while dealing with a digital ghost in their head is intense. But what really makes this game shine is its characters. Jackie, Panam, Judy, River. These aren't just side characters, they feel like real people with their own lives, their own dreams, and their own pain. I found myself making choices not based on what was best for the mission, but on what I thought was best for the people I cared about in the game. That's when you know a story is truly great, when it makes you forget you're just playing a game.
Johnny, payload.
Heavy Rain was one of the first games that really made me question every decision I made. It's not just a thriller, it's a psychological roller coaster where every choice carries real weight. You follow 4 different characters, all tied to the mystery of the origami killer, and depending on what you do, the story can unfold in dramatically different ways. I remember feeling actual panic during the QuickTime events, knowing that one mistake could cost a character's life. It's a game that makes you feel responsible for every outcome, and when I reached my ending, I just sat there, staring at the screen, processing what had just happened. If you love tense, emotional storytelling, this one is a must-play.
I'm not tired yet. Can I stay up a little longer?
Now that's not very reasonable, is it? You have school tomorrow. You have to get some sleep.
All right, I'm going. Are you coming with me?
Go brush your teeth and put on your pajamas. I'll come up.
At first, I wasn't sure what to expect from Days Gone. It looked like another zombie survival game, but as I played, I realized it was so much more. You step into the shoes of Deacon St. John, a biker turned drifter trying to survive in a world overrun by freakers. But what really hit me was the emotional depth of his story, his devotion to his lost wife, his loyalty to his best friend, and the constant struggle to hold on to hope in a dying world. The world itself feels alive, from terrifying hordes that can wipe you out in seconds to the random encounters that make every ride through Oregon feel like an adventure. It's not just about killing zombies. It's about loss, love, and redemption. And honestly, I didn't expect to get as attached to Deacon as I did. The Witcher 3 is, without a doubt, one of the greatest RPGs ever made. And it's not just because of the open world, the combat, or the deep RPG mechanics. It's the storytelling. Every quest, even the smallest side mission, feels like its own little story, filled with choices that actually matter. Playing as Geralt of Rivia, you set off on a journey to find Ciri, but along the way, you meet some of the most memorable characters in gaming. The Bloody Baron quest alone is better than the main plot of most other games. And let's not forget the 2 expansions, which are just as incredible as the main story. I spent over 100 hours in this world, and honestly, I could have spent 100 more. The writing, the voice acting, the emotional weight of every decision, it all makes for an unforgettable experience. I waited years for Alan Wake 2, and when it finally arrived, it was everything I wanted and more. This game doesn't just tell a story, it messes with your mind. You're constantly questioning what's real and what's fiction as Alan tries to escape the nightmare world he's trapped in. The atmosphere is thick with tension, and the psychological horror elements make it feel like a thriller novel come to life. What really stood out to me, though, was how the game plays with dual narratives. You're not just experiencing Alan's story, but also Saga Anderson's, an FBI agent investigating mysterious murders. The way their stories intertwine is pure brilliance. If you love games that leave you thinking long after you've put down the controller, Alan Wake 2 delivers.
More people turning into Taken.
Life is Strange is one of those games that sneaks up on you emotionally. When I first started playing, I thought it was just a chill, choice-based adventure about a girl with time travel powers. But the more I played, the more invested I became in Max and Chloe's story. Their friendship feels real, and the choices you make don't just affect the plot, they change the way you see these characters. The game does an incredible job of making you feel like your decisions matter, and there were multiple moments where I just sat there, frozen, not knowing what to choose. The soundtrack, the art style, the way it captures the feeling of being young and lost, it all comes together to create something truly special. If you love emotional, choice-driven games, this one is a must-play.
The tornado is headed straight for the town. Chloe, you're here.
I went into God of War expecting epic battles and brutal combat, and while I definitely got that, what really stuck with me was the emotional depth of the story. Kratos, once a rage-fueled godslayer, is now a father trying to guide his son, Atreus, through a world filled with danger, gods, and creatures straight out of Norse mythology. The dynamic between them is what makes this game unforgettable. Watching their relationship grow, seeing Kratos struggle with his past while trying to be a better man for his son, it all hit me in a way I wasn't expecting. And the storytelling? Absolutely top tier. Every conversation, every quiet moment between battles, every little piece of lore, it all comes together to make this feel like more than just a game. It's a journey, one that I couldn't put down. Portal 2 is proof that a game doesn't need an open world or a massive cast to tell an unforgettable story. It's just you, a portal gun, and some of the most brilliantly designed puzzles in gaming. But what really makes it stand out is the writing. The dialogue is some of the funniest and smartest I've ever heard in a game. GLaDOS, the rogue AI, is both hilarious and terrifying, and Wheatley, the bumbling robot voiced by Stephen Merchant, had me laughing out loud more times than I can count. But beneath all the humor, there's actually a surprisingly deep and well-told story about betrayal, loneliness, and what happens when artificial intelligence goes too far. Every puzzle you solve feels like progress in a greater story. And by the end, I wasn't just playing for the gameplay, I was playing to see how it all ended.
There it is. Hold on. There. Good. You have a dual portal device. There should be a way back to the testing area up ahead.
The original Final Fantasy VII is legendary, and when I played Rebirth, I was blown away by how it took an already incredible story and made it even better. The world feels richer, the characters feel more alive, and the expanded narrative adds layers of emotion I never expected. Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, Barrett, every one of them feels like a real person, and their struggles, their victories, their losses, they all hit differently when you're experiencing them with modern storytelling and voice acting. The way the game plays with fate and destiny had me constantly questioning what would happen next. Even as someone who played the original, Rebirth kept surprising me. It's the perfect mix of nostalgia and fresh storytelling, and I cannot wait to see where the next chapter goes. I've always been a huge fan of the Tomb Raider series, but Rise of the Tomb Raider took things to a whole new level. This is the game where Lara Croft truly becomes the legendary adventurer we know her as. The story follows her search for the secret of immortality, but it's not just about ancient myths and lost cities. It's about her personal journey, her struggle to prove herself, and her drive to uncover the truth no matter the cost. The cinematic storytelling kept me hooked, and the way Lara's character evolves throughout the game made me feel like I was right there with her. Plus, the game's environments are stunning, filled with hidden tombs and puzzles that make every exploration feel rewarding. It's an adventure that sticks with you long after the credits roll.
The cathedral. What was that?
Silent Hill 2 was already one of the greatest psychological horror games of all time. And with the remake, it's set to deliver that same haunting experience with modern visuals and new layers of storytelling. This isn't just a horror game, it's a deep emotional dive into grief, guilt, and the human mind. James Sunderland's journey through the fog-covered town of Silent Hill isn't about monsters. It's about facing the demons of his past. And what makes Silent Hill 2 so terrifying isn't just the creatures. It's the way the town itself reacts to James, reflecting his inner turmoil. Every step through that fog feels like stepping deeper into his psyche, and the atmosphere is so unsettling that I constantly felt on edge. If the remake manages to capture even half of the psychological depth of the original, it's going to be an absolute masterpiece. Some games entertain, some challenge, but every now and then you come across one that leaves a mark on you in a way you never expected. What Remains of Edith Finch is one of those games. It's not just a story, it's an experience, one that lingers in your mind long after you finish it. From the moment I stepped into the Finch family home, I knew I was in for something special. There's this eerie yet oddly comforting atmosphere, like stepping into a place frozen in time, filled with stories waiting to be uncovered. The house itself feels like a character, every room, every object telling a piece of the tragic yet mesmerizing tale of the Finch family. What Remains of Edith Finch isn't about action, puzzles, or skill. It's about storytelling at its absolute finest, about exploring themes of life, death, and the way we remember those who came before us. It's a short game, but its impact is massive. If you haven't played it yet, do yourself a favor. Step into the Finch house, uncover its secrets, and prepare for a journey you won't forget.
Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
Horizon Zero Dawn completely pulled me in with its mix of futuristic technology and ancient tribal culture. From the moment I stepped into Aloy's world, I was fascinated by its mysteries. How did the world fall into ruin? Where did these massive robotic creatures come from? And what made Aloy so different? The game does an incredible job of slowly unraveling these questions, all while building a deep emotional connection with its lead character. Aloy isn't just some warrior. She's someone searching for answers, for belonging, for the truth behind her existence. And the way her story unfolds, blending personal discovery with an epic, world-changing conflict, is something I'll never forget. The moment I learned the full truth behind the world's past, I had to just sit there for a minute and process it. It's that good. I don't think I've ever played a game that made me feel the way Hellblade did. It's more than just a story. It's an experience, an emotional and psychological journey that messes with your head in the best way possible. Senua's fight isn't just against physical enemies. It's against the voices in her own mind, her fears, her past trauma. And the way the game portrays her struggle with psychosis is absolutely brilliant. Playing with headphones on, hearing the voices whisper in my ear, feeling the world distort around me, I actually felt like I was inside her head. The story is raw, heartbreaking, and incredibly powerful, and by the time it was over, I felt like I had been through something truly unique. It's a game that isn't afraid to tackle deep themes, and it does it in a way that feels completely immersive. Growing up, I always dreamed of swinging through New York as Spider-Man, and this game made that dream a reality. But what really caught me off guard was just how powerful the story is. This isn't just another superhero game, it's a deeply personal journey for Peter Parker. Balancing his life as Spider-Man with his responsibilities as Peter, dealing with loss, making sacrifices, it all felt so real. And then there's the relationship between Peter and Dr. Octavius, which is hands down one of the best mentor-student dynamics I've ever seen in a game. Watching their bond shift over time, seeing the emotional weight behind every decision, it made every moment hit that much harder. And let's not even talk about that ending. I wasn't ready for it, and if you haven't played it yet, trust me, you won't be either.
Guess I gotta play harder to get.
Need to get closer. Now can we talk like human beings?
Few games have ever made me feel as emotionally invested as Red Dead Redemption 2. Arthur Morgan's story isn't just about being an outlaw. It's about loyalty, redemption, and the slow, painful realization that the world is changing and there's no stopping it. Rockstar created a world that feels so real, so lived in, that I often found myself just wandering, taking in the sights, listening to the conversations of NPCs who had their own lives and struggles. And Arthur himself? He's one of the most well-written protagonists I've ever played. Watching him evolve, seeing how the choices I made shaped his fate, it was unlike anything I've ever experienced in gaming. This is the kind of game that doesn't just tell a great story, it makes you feel like you're living it.
Listen.
Is that a spider web coming from this what you want? Damn it!
You want to get shot, my friend?
There you have it. 20 story-driven masterpieces that every gamer should experience. Which of these have you played, and which ones are on your must-play list? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more gaming content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.